I'd like to welcome you all to an evening of Q&A with Master Hypnotist and Trainer Marc Cunningham. And now, your host, Marc Carlin, the New York City Hypnotist.
That was a nice touch.
Thank you. I'm really thrilled to have Master Hypnotist and Trainer Marc Cunningham on the line for a spirited evening of Q&A.
I've got to be really straightforward about this because this is for the sake of full disclosure. I have to tell you that I'm a big fan of Marc's. In fact, at one of my first trainings with him, he mentioned there was someone in the class that comes to the class unaware of even what the training is. In other words, whenever Marc shows up, this guy shows up. Wherever Marc is having a training, this guy just shows up. And I have to tell you, when I heard that, I had met this guy, and I thought he was a nice guy, but when I heard that, I thought the guy was an idiot. Well, at the last training I attended with Marc this past February, we were standing in the lobby of the hotel with a group of attendees the day before the seminar, and Marc commented that he has such a loyal following that some people just show up wherever he is. And then he said, take, for example, Marc Carlin here. Well, I was a little stunned, but I had to agree that, I had been to quite a few of his trainings, and later that evening I reflected on how many trainings I've been to with Marc, and I confess, I am that idiot. So, I'm not going to count this evening towards the total, but I've been to over a baker's dozen so far and counting. So when I say I'm a fan, I really mean it. And that's why I asked all of you to supply your questions for Marc this evening, so we could get some of those questions asked that I might feel would be rude to ask him, but now I can blame it all on you faceless folks out there.
Hey.
Now, Marc has a varied and checkered background. He's been trained by many of the major trainers in hypnosis, NLP, energy work, Taoist philosophy. I think I heard you mention that you even spent some time in a Buddhist monastery. Is that right?
Sure.
Yeah. He's been seeing clients in private consultation for long enough to have accumulated over 20,000 clinical hours. That's like 2 diplomates, something like that. And he's not only accused of, but I think he even admits to saying some pretty outrageous things about what's capable using hypnotic techniques. So I want to introduce you right now to the man of the hour, Marc Cunningham.
Well, that would be me.
That would be you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any opening statements you want to say before I put you on the hot seat?
No, well, maybe a brief one, and that's that you caught me at a really interesting, because I just came off of 7 days of vacation. So I am relaxed and happy. I am responsive, which is not always the case on all 3 counts. So what would you like to talk about tonight?
Well, I've got a bunch of questions that people sent in. And the first one, we're going to start off with some easy questions.
Okay.
There are some newbies on the phone, I'm sure. And so we'll start off with the question, do you think that whether the client believes they are in an altered state changes the outcome of the session?
Well, it depends on your definition of session, I think. If you're going to go out and you want to use influence skills, if you want to rely primarily on language technique and state control, so you're taking more of an NLP style of approach, then no, I wouldn't say that paying a whole lot of attention to testing or formally evoking trance experiences would be interesting or helpful at all. Okay, I know a lot of effective therapists who will sit down and just talk. Now, they have the gift for language. They have that combination of technical training and real-life skills so that when they're using the language to evoke a particular emotion or a particular emotional state, then they've actually experienced that before, and they're acting it out at the same time, which makes the message very plausible. That's very, very good, and I actually admire that approach, and I attempt it to the greatest degree that I can if I'm working with something that is relatively straightforward, or if the problem that I'm working with, the demon I'm working within, if that is easily manipulated. For other things, for deep traumas, for things that are manifesting a really severe physical accompaniment, something like fibromyalgia. Okay, I like using very dramatic technique because you want to get them completely off the emotional base that they walked in with. Okay, you want to take them to a complete other experience, a complete other world, and then say, well, yeah, look, you can do this too. Okay, and it drains away so much of the stress, so much of the tension associated with living with a particular severe problem, that at that moment you can then shift them in a position of greater resource, greater opportunity, greater hope for change, because after all, if they can have this full-bore, amazing hallucination, then they can probably trust the process enough to work with what seems to them a problem that is as large as this wild-ass ride I just took them on.
Yeah, you're breaking through barriers. Right. Cool.
To hear the complete seminar, you can go to hypnoticstate.com and click on the teleseminar link. You can also sign up for the class, The New Curriculum with Marc Cunningham, by going to truecore.com.